Hello, I am Gabby Ray Talker here to bring you an update with the investigation of Bobbi Kristina Brown, and the news surrounding. Recently, bad press has been emerging with Bobbi Kristina's aunt, Patricia Houston, or better known as Aunt Pat. She is the wife of Whitney Houston's brother and is also in charge of Whitney Houston's estate. For years she managed Whitney Houston and her brother that sang back up with her. When Whitney Houston died, Pat was left in charge of Houston's estate, but Bobbi Kristina was set to inherit everything of her mother's, in portions from age 21 to 30. Whitney Houston's mother, Cissy Houston, is said to have shared control of Whitney's estate with Pat. As a result, both Aunt Pat and Cissy tried to get a court order to push back Bobbi Kristina's first portion of inheritance that she was set to receive at her 21st birthday. And this amounts to 10% of her mother's $20 million estate. Bobbi Kristina's aunt and grandmother were afraid that she would misuse the money and end up like her mother if she received the inheritance money too early. But the court ruled against Cissy and Pat, awarding Bobbi Kristina her first portion of her millions. Not long after, Bobbi Kristina's partner, Nick Gordon, began to demand that Aunt Pat give Bobbi Kristina more money. He did not believe the millions she received was enough, and he began sending her threatening offensive messages and tweeting photos of his guns. As a result, Aunt Pat filed a restraining order against Gordon. The order extended 12 months, from spring of 2014 to the spring of 2015. Bobbi Kristina's friends expressed how Nick has continuously tried to turn Bobbi Kristina against her own family and, more so, against Aunt Pat because she had control of the money. Then, following the drowning tragedy, estranged cousin of Bobbi Kristina, Gerald Brown, posted messages that would blame Aunt Pat for Bobbi Kristina's drowning. But people believe he is posting things against Pat Houston to support Nick Gordon and to spite Bobbi Kristina's father, Bobby Brown, who previously told the media to disregard him. Plus, Leola Brown, Bobby Brown's sister, joined in with Gerald Brown in saying that Pat Houston is partly responsible that Bobbi Kristina drowned. But she believes that Pat Houston and Nick Gordon together are to blame for Bobbi Kristina's drowning, but so far the evidence points to Nick Gordon, which may have caused the near-fatal drowning. Since the death of Whitney Houston, Nick Gordon have demonstrated behavior with Bobbi Kristina that they found to be negative. The Houstons warned Bobbi Kristina to leave him. Even Bobbi Kristina's friends saw that he was using her for her money. Her friends said that it looked like Aunt Pat tried her hardest to protect Bobbi Kristina. Let's find out what Bobbi Kristina's actual friends are saying about Nick Gordon and her Aunt Pat. Here is an exclusive interview from Stephen Steffo at Radar Online.
They don't really like Nick. They think that she's a bad influence and he doesn't really respect them. That's the problem. Pat cares about Chrissy so much. The last time I saw her, I went to their house, and she was sitting there just making sure Chrissy was doing stuff with her career and was doing okay, and she constantly sent family members over, came over herself to check up on Chrissy, make sure Chrissy was doing okay, cook them food, help them clean their house. Pat really cared about Chrissy. She did everything she could for Chrissy. She loved Chrissy. That was, it was almost as if Whitney had told Pat to look after her and take care of her if anything ever happened to her. That's what she was doing. And she didn't like Nick because Nick was interfering with that. Nick constantly wanted more of everything, more, especially money. He kept asking her for more money and more money and more money, and Pat.
Everybody else, good else, Pat.
Yeah, and she was trying to make sure that Christy was set for the rest of her life. That she had that money when she was older, when she was able to make proper decisions and wasn't spending all the money on drugs and stuff like that. She didn't want Nick to blow through all her money. She didn't want, that money was supposed to be for Chrissy's future. So Chrissy didn't, so she had money because she's had everything paid for her entire life. You're used to that type of lifestyle, you get it. I'm not saying that she's spoiled or anything, but she's used to that kind of lifestyle. And mean, I don't see her going to get a regular job or something like that. That was money that was supposed to be for her so she can eat and live and have the things she wants. And that was what her mom left her. That was for her. Nick wasn't in the will. And, you know, I feel like just of the situation, he just took, you know, when Whitney died, he saw his money going away and he took advantage of the situation, and that's why he got into the relationship with Chrissy and tried to get her so close and attached, because he wanted the money, you know. And Pat tried to make sure that Chrissy wasn't doing drugs and Chrissy wasn't going to do anything to really to happen what happened now. You know, she didn't want that to happen. She was trying to prevent that to happen all she could. And, I mean, that's why she got the restraining order on Nick, because, I mean, you see what he did with me. He sitting there posting threats and guns on Twitter. She saw that. She was in fear for her life and her daughter's life and her husband's life. And, you know, they're great people. Pat, Gary, their entire, I met all of them, and they're great people. They really care about Chrissy and not the money. They really wanted what was best for her. And it just, they saw that it was interfering with her, and they told her countless times, especially their grandmother too. They told her countless times that he's no good. You know, he's not the guy for you. And she, I mean, you gotta think, it's been hard for her with relationships, and she felt like he really cared about her and really loved her. Because she's known him for so long, you know? You wouldn't think that somebody like that would be after the money and would do, and it just, it breaks my heart.
Do you think she was almost brainwashed by him or deluded by him?
Definitely, without a doubt. He constantly was feeding her thoughts that Pat was out to get the money, Pat was out to get her, Pat didn't like her, you know, constantly making her go against her family. And she didn't, at her heart, she didn't want to do that. Because she knows her aunt and her family care about her greatly. And it sucks that he took advantage of that. And, you know, took advantage of her desire to just, because Pat and all of them, they can't be there for her every day and be there for her emotionally like a boyfriend could, or, you know. So he took advantage of that and saying that, you know, it was them against the world type thing.
That was Stephen Stefo, Bobbi Kristina's high school friend, that can attest to the character of both Nick Gordon and Patricia Houston. According to him, her aunt loved her, but Nick Gordon was just trying to use her. Stephen said when Whitney Houston died, Gordon's money was running out. Stephen believes Gordon stuck with Bobbi Kristina for her money. By any means necessary. This is Gabby Ray Talker signing off. Remember to subscribe and follow me on Twitter too. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.